Hey everybody, this is Rich and you're with Beekeeping with Rich. Here in sunny South Florida, it's February the 19th and the temperature is 84 degrees. I'm sorry, not 84. Temperature is 78 degrees. It's going up to 84 today. Last weekend we had to do a cutout, and it reminded me of how very much I enjoy this little wire hanger setup that I discovered many years ago, and I thought I'd share it with everyone. So when I started beekeeping, I started as a top bar beekeeper, but my first opportunity for free bees was a cutout. And top bar beekeeping cutouts are somewhat problematical. You have a top bar and you need to suspend pieces of comb from it. Most everybody's going to tell you to do a whole lot of work with string and tie in pieces, like this and such. But I went online, and I'm sorry, I don't know the source at this point. That was 5-6 years ago. But I went online and I found someone said, hey, you can make these hooks using what's called rabbit wire. And I said, you know what? That looks like a great idea.
Put it on the table. I can't see it.
Okay. You want to put it on the table like that? I just whipped this up real quick to show you what a top bar with these hooks on it would look like. So at any rate, I put these on all of our top bars, and we did the cutout, and we suspended all those pieces of comb from these bars, and it worked perfectly. The bees built super strong anchoring comb up around the wires, and of course everything was hanging perfectly. And later on, when I got into doing frames, I decided, why not just keep doing the same thing? You want me to put it down so you can see it down there? Okay. And so I always keep a supers full of these wired frames ready to go in case I need to do a cutout, either for myself or help somebody else. In this case, it was for myself. So today I'm going to show you how we make these and show you how they work. Oh, I should probably mention first that yes, of course, here's the way you normally do cutouts. And we do them the same way. If you have a good sized piece of comb that you can cut to fit the whole frame particularly, then rubber banding it in place works great. I mean, even down to fairly small pieces of comb, rubber banding works great. The only problem with doing it this way is that unless you have another piece of comb to wedge down here like this, then obviously that piece that you put in like that would just drop to the bottom. And that's fine. If these pieces drop to the bottom and you've got a big gap up here, the bees will build up into that gap and secure it. It's not that you have to make these wire pieces, but we really enjoy the fact that you can take a piece of comb like this and you can just pop it on there and you're done. So I'm going to show you how we do this and go from there. So the raw material here is what is called rabbit wire. Otherwise it's 3/4 by 1 inch hardware cloth. Readily available, Home Depot, Lowe's, Ace Hardware, any place you can get construction materials. This is what it got the name rabbit wire because this is what everybody uses to make rabbit hutches out of. It's perfect for that purpose. And it works well for us here. Here is a piece of that's been cut out and is ready to be bent into shape. So let's get started here. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. You only need 2 anchor points on the ends. And the bottom is a 2-part process. First, you got to get rid of the piece of wire. And of course, you can do this with a Dremel wheel. Just as easy, I guess. Seems a little more dangerous to me. Take out every other one. And if you made an odd count, like I did on this piece here, you can take out another one. And it probably wouldn't even hurt to take out one of these. Now, the wire going this way is on top. The wire going this way is on the bottom. You bend these up so that they go around the wire on the bottom, because that gives you a little extra support. Not that it really matters with the amount of weight that we're putting on here, but just to do things right. If you bend it the other direction against these welds, sometimes they'll snap off. They don't snap off if you do it this way.
So the welds are to the inside.
The weld is on the outside right there, and if you bend back this way, sometimes they'll snap, but not too often, but still. Straighten and tidy everything up there. Take a frame. Now, when I started doing these, I put them right in the middle because, well, that's just what people do. They put things in the middle. And that was really a dumb idea, I found out. And that was, of course, the way they also showed to do it on whatever it was that I learned to do it from. But I found out over time, let me turn this the other way around so that I don't confuse anybody, that you're better off putting it in about the back quarter position. And as far as positioning this way, digress for a moment here. There was a time when I tried to make these things all the way across, and I made really long ones. You can see some of these old ones here are longer. Short, this size actually works about the best. Shorter is better because they give you plenty of support anyway. And the way I calculate it is if you figure this into thirds, if you kind of visualize this as split into 3/3, then your hole for this one is at this 1/3 mark, and your hole for this one is at this 1/3 mark. So I'm not saying, you put in 2 pieces, and the nice thing about putting in 2 pieces is that if you have 1 piece of comb, that's fine. You can put it across the both of them. But bees do things the way bees do things, and a lot of time you'll have a piece of brood comb that's like this long, and if you cut it just straight down the middle, you're going to leave a lot of brood on either end. Whereas if you cut it across the middle and cut some of the area over here that has resources, pollen and such with it, and then you take that piece and you put it in the middle, and you take the other piece and you put it on the next frame. But then that leaves you oftentimes with enough room to put another small piece with maybe some resources in it over at one end of this piece of comb. Each piece of comb you make, each frame of comb you make is going to be individual, but I have found that the greatest flexibility comes by using 2 pieces about this wide set in about thirds. Even though there's 2 pieces of them, there's 1 piece is set into this third, 1 piece is set into this third, and the middle overlaps. Because you still will use rubber bands a lot of times on this, because as you stick it in the wire, it'll want to angle a little bit one way or angle a little bit the other way, and whip a rubber band here and whip a rubber band here. Everything is nice and straight. It's sturdy and firm. You can put it on in. So let's go ahead and get to this next spot. So we've made this piece just now. We've kind of figured that this is about where it's going to go. So you scratch a little mark there. Then you, holding it there, you scratch your little mark here. You got your 2 marks for this one. You take your drill bit, which is just the same size as the wire, 1/8 inch in this case. Don't overthink this. There's no need for measurements and such. Now, you have it on this side, so obviously you're going to turn it that way. From underneath here, you stick that in.
That's not clear.
All right. So I'm sticking it in, and I'm sticking it in.
So the wire ends up toward the front.
The wire will be facing the front. And of course you do some adjustment. You bend it so that it works with that. Oh, let's go ahead here. See the 2 pieces of wire sticking up? That's all you need to do for that. And then you aim your pieces of wire so that they are just ever so slightly at an upward angle. Does that work for you, dear? All right. Let's do the other one. Bend it. Bend it.
Aren't you bending the wrong end?
You're right. Same thing. Right about there. Right about there, I think, yeah. Mark with that. And there you have a frame ready to receive a piece of comb. Let's see, that was bottom, that was top. I didn't think to bring a knife over here. Oh, that's okay. We'll just rip this off. You'll see this comb again in the next video, which is going to be about the boiling method for wax preparation. But actually I would do it like this, as you can probably figure out. And you see that bends a little bit. And let's take a little bit of this over here.
You would normally cut that with a knife.
Yes, dear. We would normally be cutting this with a knife. Nice and clean. But I realized I didn't grab a knife, and what the heck. So, just for stability's sake, a rubber band here. You can see this piece was popping out slightly, so we'll just push it in there, let the rubber band hold it in position. That one's snug on there. And for you newbies, the bees don't like rubber bands, and once they get the wire nice and sturdy, or once they get the comb steady on the wires, they're going to chew through the rubber bands and drag them out the front of the hive. But there you go. It's extremely sturdy that way. I don't even have that pushed all the way back on there, but it's extremely sturdy.
Now, when you harvest honey out of that, explain that.
Oh, well, yes, Well, when you harvest honey out of this, if the bees attach down here really well, then you can probably go ahead and put this through an extractor if you want to. If the bees don't do attachments down there really well, then you should probably just harvest this with the crush and strain method, slicing everything out of here. Of course, when you get up here to where the wire is, doop, it's not going to slice anymore. You just kind of cut around, leave that little bit there, or you can just kind of like poke it out, do as much as you want. When you clean the frame up to use again, all you have to do is take your propane torch, wave it over a little bit, all the wax melts out of there just like it did out of all these old ones here. Okay, and you can go from there. But if they do attach at the bottom, which hopefully they will, then this is the best comb in the world for spinning. It's stronger than anything else.
You can remove the wires later.
Well, yes, you can remove the wires later and put these back into regular rotation. The nice thing about the wires being in here is you can keep track on the rotation of old comb to new comb. And if you are so inclined, instead of waiting about 3 years to do it, you can go ahead and do it after a year or so, whatever floats your boat. Take it out of rotation, bend it up, take the wires out. These have been recycled and reused a number of times. And just, put your regular cross wires in and return this to a normal situation. But this is for this situation, which is you've got cutouts to do. And it's particularly great, like I said, it is absolutely the best thing for doing a top bar. But it's also really great for this because you can work so fast. As fast as I could cut the comb out and hand it down to my wife, she was able to make nice long incisions and pop the comb into these frames with the wires that were already available on it, throw a couple of rubber bands on it, pop it into the super, and off to the next one. Bing, bang, boom. It's fast and easy, not a lot of struggle involved with doing it. So this is just a great tip I wanted to share. It came to me years ago. Rabbit wire to make a series of hooks to put in your frames. Extremely useful, extremely versatile, and the bees really love it. I mean, there was one frame that I only finally got out of rotation after 4 years because every time I looked at that frame, the bees had brood in it. They just never let that frame go out of brood production. And I was as fast as I would get one of those frames emptied, I'd be taking it out. But man, they loved that frame and they just kept putting it back in brood production. So that's it for today. This is Beekeeping with Rich. Y'all have a great weekend.